I had always pictured my wedding day as the most joyful moment of my life, standing hand in hand with my fiancée, surrounded by loved ones, enveloped in warmth and celebration. But I never imagined that the one person who should have been cheering us on would nearly ruin everything. It all began innocently enough. When I proposed to Sarah, the excitement was overwhelming. We spent months meticulously planning every detail, from the decorations to the menu, and most importantly, the perfect venue. It was a quaint, romantic lakeside garden that Sarah and I instantly adored when we first saw it. We were completely aligned. This was our dream spot, and nothing could sway us. But then things took an odd turn. Sarah's mother, Linda, had always been a bit overbearing, but I never thought she'd cross such a significant line. At first, it was subtle remarks, offering suggestions for the wedding that I dismissed as her being overly enthusiastic. However, those suggestions soon escalated into something far more troubling. A few weeks before the big day, I called the venue coordinator to confirm some final arrangements. That's when I received shocking news. Linda had secretly reached out to the venue and switched the location without informing me or Sarah. I was floored, enraged, and deeply hurt. The venue that formed the heart of our dream wedding was no longer ours. When I told Sarah, she was just as stunned. She couldn't fathom why her mother would do something so extreme, but the damage was done. The venue was now reserved under Linda's name, and it felt like our carefully crafted plans were crumbling. I couldn't understand Linda's motives. I thought we had a decent relationship, but this felt like a deliberate attempt to sabotage our special day for reasons I couldn't grasp. The worst part? Sarah, caught in the middle, didn't know how to respond. She wanted to keep things civil, but I couldn't let this pass. It wasn't just about a venue, it was about trust, boundaries, and respect. The moment I learned about the change, my heart sank. This was the one thing Sarah and I had agreed on without hesitation. We'd spent months planning, and now it was slipping away. I tried to convince myself that maybe Linda meant well, that it was an honest mistake. But deep down, I knew better. It felt like she'd been scheming behind our backs for weeks, maybe longer. I felt betrayed, not just by her actions, but by the disregard she showed for our vision. I couldn't comprehend why she'd do this. Sarah and I were funding the wedding ourselves, keeping the guest list small and intimate, including only those closest to us. Yet somehow, Linda decided our wedding wasn't just about us. It was about her control and her vision. When I discussed it with Sarah, her reaction was a mix of bewilderment and frustration. She was as hurt as I was, but she hesitated to confront her mother. She kept saying Linda didn't mean to cause trouble, that she was just trying to help. But I could hear the doubt in her voice. Linda's behavior had been intensifying for months. Choosing dresses without asking us, sharing our wedding plans with others without permission, and now this. We spent hours on the phone with the venue coordinator, desperately trying to undo Linda's changes. But the new venue she'd picked was already booked, leaving us with limited options. Linda's insistence on making decisions without consulting us only worsened the situation. She'd even called Sarah's cousin to announce the venue change without checking if it was okay with us. It felt like my wedding had become her personal project, and I was merely a bystander. I tried to stay calm. I called Linda to talk it over, hoping for a reasonable resolution. That was a mistake. The moment I raised the issue, she became defensive and dismissive, brushing it off as if it were nothing. She claimed she only wanted what was best for everyone. When I explained how her actions hurt Sarah and me, she laughed it off, saying I was overreacting and that it was just a venue, not a big deal. That's when I realized reasoning with her was futile. This wasn't about a location. It was about control. Her refusal to respect our wishes was proof. As days passed, the tension grew. Sarah was torn between supporting me and maintaining peace with her mom. Every conversation about it seemed to push her further away, uncertain of what to do. She didn't want to upset Linda, but she also didn't want to lose me. I knew something had to change. I couldn't let this continue. But confronting Linda directly wasn't going to be simple. This wasn't a minor disagreement. It was a fight for control over the most significant day of our lives, and I was determined to stand my ground. The more I thought about it, the angrier I became. Linda's actions weren't just overstepping, they were disrespectful. Sarah had always been close to her mom, and I respected their bond. But this was too much. It felt like Linda was doing everything possible to undermine.